Tell me, what is the problem with the wasted gas?
Yes, well, it's a problem we're quite concerned about. The GAO and the Inspector General from the Interior Department, that's the Government Accountability Office, and the Inspector General have identified this as a serious concern. A lot of gas during the oil and gas production process, a lot of gas just gets burned off in flares, and other gas leaks or is vented from various pieces of equipment. We had, between 2009 and 2015, America's public gas resources from public lands, the amount that was lost was enough to supply about 6.2 million households for a year. That's a lot of gas.
That's a lot of gas. Now, what sort of methodology will be used to try to cut off this waste? How do you plan to do it?
Well, I think there's two big things that we focused on in particular. One is the flaring. We really view this gas as a valuable resource. It powers America's economy, and we don't think that operators should be just flaring it off. So we're asking them to capture gradually more and more of that gas over time and put it to productive use, sell it to pipelines, etc. And over time, we will cut that flaring rate about in half on public and Indian lands. And then the other biggest piece of the problem is leaks. We see a lot of gas leaking from equipment, and so we're just asking operators to take the common sense approach of, going out and using modern technologies like infrared cameras, which can spot leaks really quickly and easily, and go out twice a year and look for leaks on their operations. And when they find them, fix them. They get to keep the gas and sell it and recoup a lot of the costs, and the American public gets the gas.
Sure. Now, Alexandra, what is the resistance from the natural gas industry to these rules?
Well, I think there's always concern about government requiring things. The industry has been taking many of these steps to some extent on their own, but not everybody's doing it. And we just think it should be baseline good practices across the board, not only what a few operators are doing voluntarily. They were concerned about costs, and we understand that. That's why we phased in the rule very gradually the flaring requirements are phased in gradually over 9 years, 2026 before the final ones come into play. So we've really tried to be sensitive to the industry's concerns. We got a lot of comment from them, and we modified the proposed rule in some substantial ways in response.
What are the cost and benefit analysis that you guys have come up with there at the BLM?
Yes. Well, we have done a thorough analysis, economic analysis, and we estimate that the net benefits of the rule range from $46 to $204 million per year. Costs to industry range from anywhere from about $110 to $279 million per year, and the benefits range from $209 to $403 million per year. So there's the benefits outweigh the cost of this rule considerably, and we think it'll bring overall benefits to the American public.
Sure. Now, the companies will probably say, well, gee, these new regulations are going to force us to raise prices to the consumer. How do you respond to that?
We just don't think that the rules will be that costly, and our analysis doesn't have it affecting prices. In fact, putting more natural gas supply on the market should, if anything, lower prices, although we don't really think it'll affect it either way.
Okay. Now let me ask you this about the actual supply of natural gas. Do we know, are you able to, through technology, to figure out just exactly how big the supply is that we have? I know here in Montana we have a very large deposits of natural gas, but is there enough in America to be able to power our homes for a significant period of time?
Well, I think we know that we have a lot of natural gas, and we've been really improving the technologies to get at that natural gas. That said, once we get it out of the ground, we just don't think it makes sense to waste it. We should be using every bit that we can that we get out of the ground without just disposing of it into our air.
Okay. Now, it sounds to me like allowing the gas to escape and the leaking and the flares might be physically dangerous as well. Is that part of the problem?
That's definitely a concern, particularly with leaks and venting of gas. That gas is explosive; it burns, and so we want operators to be handling it as safely as possible.
Sure, and I'm sure that the BLM and there are various safety organizations that are helping out the industries to try to keep safety at a maximum, right?
That's right.
Okay, great. So anything else you'd like to add to this interview? This has been very illuminating for me. So anything else that I can pass along to our listeners from your perspective?
Sure. Well, I think we've talked a little bit about the costs and the benefits that are expressed in dollar values, but this is really about reducing flaring and the impacts on the communities, people who live around these flares. It's about reducing harmful methane emissions that contribute to climate change, and it's about reducing waste of natural gas, which belongs to every American. This is the public's natural gas, and we want to put it to good use, not send it out into the air. So we really appreciate the opportunity to talk about the rule.